Hi, Giraffes. I have a book from my bookshelf here at my house to read you today. It's called Corduroy. I don't know if you've read this story or not, but this was one of my favorite books when I was a little girl, and all three of my children enjoyed this book when they were younger too, and that's why the book looks a little bit raggedy and torn, because lots of people have read it. It's a great one. Corduroy was written by a man named Don Freeman, and he's also the illustrator of this book. Corduroy. Corduroy is a bear who once lived in the toy department of a big store. Day after day, he waited with all the other animals and dolls for somebody to come along and take him home. The store was always filled with shoppers buying all sorts of things. But no one ever seemed to want a small bear in green overalls. Then one morning, a little girl stopped and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Oh, Mommy," she said, "look, that's the very bear I've always wanted." What do you think her mom's gonna say? "Not today, dear," her mother sighed. "I've spent too much money already. Besides, he doesn't look new. He's lost the button to one of his shoulder straps." Would you want to buy a bear that had lost a button? Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. "I didn't know I'd lost a button," he said to himself. "Tonight, I will go see if I can find it. Maybe if he finds his button, then someone will buy him." Late that evening, when all the shoppers had gone and the doors were shut and locked, Corduroy climbed carefully down from his shelf and began searching everywhere on the floor for his lost button. Suddenly, he felt the floor moving underneath him. Quite by accident, he had stepped onto an escalator, and up he went. I bet you've been on an escalator. Maybe at the mall. But Corduroy has never seen such a thing, so guess what he thinks it is? Could this be a mountain? He wondered. I think I've always wanted to climb a mountain. He stepped off the escalator as it reached the next floor, and there before his eyes was a most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and rows of beds. "This must be a palace," Corduroy gasped. "I guess I've always wanted to live in a palace." He wandered around, admiring the furniture. "This must be a bed," he said. "I've always wanted to sleep in a bed." And up he crawled onto a large, thick mattress. All at once, he saw something small and round. Do you think it's what I think it is? Could it be his button? "Why, here's my button," he cried, and he tried to pick it up, but like all the other buttons on the mattress, it was tied down tight. He yanked and he pulled with all his might with both paws until pop! Off came that button, and off the mattress Corduroy toppled, bang, into a tall floor lamp, and over it went with a crash. Corduroy didn't know it, but there was someone else awake in the store. The night watchman was going his rounds on the floor above. When he heard the crash, he came dashing down the escalator. Now, the night watchman is like a police officer inside the store. to keep it safe at night. "Now who in the world did that?" he exclaimed. "Somebody must be hiding around here." He flashed his light under and over the sofas and the beds until he came to the biggest bed of all, and there he saw 2 fuzzy brown ears sticking up from under the covers. Can you see those 2 fuzzy brown ears? "Hello," he said. "How did you get upstairs?" The night watchman tucked Corduroy under his arm and carried him down the escalator and set him on the shelf in the toy department with the other animals and the dolls. Poor Corduroy, he's right back where he started, and he didn't even find his button. Corduroy was just waking up when the first customers came into the store in the morning. And there, looking at him with a wide, warm smile, was the same little girl he had seen the day before. Remember this little girl? "I'm Lisa," she said, "and you're going to be my very own bear. Last night I counted what I've saved in my piggy bank, and my mother said I could bring you home." This is one of my favorite parts. "Shall I put him in a box for you?" the sales lady asked. "Oh, no, thank you," Lisa answered, and she carried Corduroy home in her arms. She ran all the way up 4 flights of stairs into her family's apartment and straight to her own room. Now you've got to see her room that she set up for Corduroy. Corduroy blinked. There was a chair and a chest of drawers, and alongside a girl-sized bed, there was a little bed just the right size for him. The room was small, nothing like the enormous palace in the department store. "This must be home," he said. "I know I've always wanted a home." Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and began to sew a button on his overalls. "I like you the way you are," she said, "but you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened." So he does get his button. "You must be a friend," said Corduroy. "I've always wanted a friend." "Me too," said Lisa. That's the end of Corduroy. I hope you enjoyed it. We wish you well, we wish you well. All through the day today, we wish you well. Goodbye, giraffes. I will see you next time.